Hello everyone and welcome to From the Heart Friday with me, Jessica Brigden of JessBCreativeCardiology. Hello, happy Friday to you, lots of love. Today we have a really fun technique card. We are doing a triangle fold card using a half sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is one of those wow cards that looks really impressive, but once you learn the steps, it's really quite easy and simple to put together. You need one sheet of cardstock and you need some double-sided designer series paper. All right, so paper that you can use both sides, and we're gonna cut that down to 4 by 5.25. All right, so cardstock, some fancy paper, and then just some accessories, okay? So I'm excited to share this with you today. I will be using Stampin' Up's Bloom Impressions Designer Series paper, which is a celebration special here for January and February 2025. So we are halfway through that promotion. And we'll also be using a stamp set and dies that has been around for a while, and it's called Sentimental Park. Okay, so I'm excited to share that with you. And I will also show you an alternate because I do have a sample here where I use the Mediterranean blooms. So you could really use any colors of cardstock, any patterns of paper, and really any theme for your projects. So let's flip the camera and get started. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're watching from. Okay, so we'll get all set up here. Okay, so like I said, we are going to be making a triangle fun fold technique card. What that means is the flaps on the front of the card are triangles, right? And we've used half a sheet, so you can see a full sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock here. If I lay my finished card over top, you see we have used half of it. We have cut our cardstock at an angle, all right, in order to create that triangle fun fold. Hi, Sandy. Oh, yes, it's cold here too. So cold and so windy, and it looks like we are expecting some snow this weekend. All right, so this is just an example of what the finished card could look like. And as you can see here, I've also used two patterns, or front and back of a pack of designer series paper. Okay, so really that is all you need. So let me just give you some of the rundown here. Since we are already a week into February, we have celebration happening, which means you get a free product of your choice, all right, from our celebration selections for every $60 you purchase. And not only do we have all of the fun items here, hi Polly, in our celebration brochure, but Stampin' Up added 11 additional items that you can also get, including the beautiful butterflies stamp set, which is a $24 value. So many of these items, especially the dies, $42 value, $37 value, that you can get free with just a $60 purchase. That's fantastic. Okay, and then you can see the Bloom Impressions paper is here on page 11 of the celebration brochure. All right, so to create this fun die cut label here on the front, I wanted something that coordinated with my Bloom Impressions paper, and that was the right size. And so I ended up using the Sentimental Park dies. Now, Sentimental Park, the stamp set and dies has been around for a while. It actually came out about 2 years ago, and now the items are sold separately. All right, you can see them both side by side here on page 79 of the Stampin' Up annual catalog. These are still available, and you have several different sizes of sentiment labels and die cut flowers. And I love this one because it has these fun little die cut flowers attached to it. And then this piece gives us a nice stitched shape, and it nestles right in there together. Hi Linda, hello. Yes, so this is my Fun Fold Workshop of the Month project. And so hopefully some of you received the kits that I sent you, and so you can follow along with me. All right, if not, they are in the mail. I think I checked delivery on everything, and the last kits were being delivered this afternoon. So, okay, so that was the Sentimental Park stamp set and dies. The paper is Stampin' Up's Bloom Impressions from Celebration. Gorgeous, beautiful papers. I used, for this particular card, I went with a purple theme. So I used this pattern of pretty purple flowers, which is why I have my little lavender sweater on here today. And the other pattern I used, this one is my favorite with the bright pink and purple flowers, those green leaves. All right, so in this case, I did use, instead of doing front and back, I did use two individual patterns, and I had cut them down to 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so for my cardstock, I've got just a traditional 8.5 by 11. So let me show you how easy this is. What you do need is a paper trimmer that extends at least 13 inches. Okay, so our Stampin' Up! Trimmer will work for this. I noticed I did at my Creative Escape Day this past weekend, and a couple of people had other trimmers and they weren't quite long enough. All right, but the Stampin' Up! Trimmer does work. What I do recommend though is removing the scoring blade for this. Okay, that will give us, so you slide it down your track. Okay, you can slide it down the track and then you can actually remove the scoring blade, and that will give you a little bit more length to work with. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, well, first thing you would have used your scoring blade to score this at 4 1/4. Okay, so on the 8.5 side, you score it 4 1/4, and then rotate it. All right, open your extended arm here. And then on the 11-inch side, we're scoring at 5 1/2. All right, so we've got just score halfway down each side. So we've got a 4-point grid here. Okay, then we've taken out our scoring blade and we are going to cut from point to opposite point. We're going to cut at an angle. This is how we're creating those triangles. And as you can see, when I turn it point to point, I'm extending beyond the actual track. Hopefully, can you guys see right up in there? All right, so my point goes all the way up here. I want to make sure it's in the groove. And then down here at the bottom, all right, I want to make sure it's doing that exact same thing. Okay, point to point. So when we've got that, all right, make sure we're good. I'm going to start up here at this end. All right, close your cutting guide. All right, don't force it because your paper is actually over. It's not all in the groove. So start at one end and then just gently bring this all the way down. Okay, and as you can see, it didn't quite cut all the way because it's not totally long enough. So what we're gonna do is now take our paper snips, right? Just our little fine tip scissors. And we've got most of it here, but we're gonna come at the tip, find that groove, okay? And we're just gonna finish cutting that all the way through, okay? So just a little snip at each end here. Okay, right up in that groove. Boom, that's all it took, okay? Just a little partial snip for each end. That gives us 2 pieces here, okay? And so, here we go. There you go. So this was our full sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. You can see we scored it at half in each direction, and then we cut it from corner to corner, okay? By doing that, you can see we have this part, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That'll be our base, and we'll be able to fold in those triangles, all right? And that gives us the 2 flaps for our card, all right? So from each sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, all right, by cutting it from point to point, you're gonna get 2 sheets, okay? You'll have 2 card bases. All right, so the next thing, well, like I said, we were using our cardstock at 4 1/4. You needed it 4 1/4 excuse me, 4 by 5 1/4. There we go, 4 by 5 1/4. All right, so there's one piece. And then with my second piece here, and I'm gonna cut this at 4 inches first, and then by 5 1/4. All right, what you're going to do is lay these on top of each other, just like if you were doing the stack, cut, and shuffle cards, okay? So lay these 2 pieces on top of each other, okay? And then we are going to cut from point to point. All right, so stick your point right in the groove, okay? Make sure your other point is down there. There we go. So now we have our triangles. Okay. So then when it comes to our card base, all right, now we've got the points for each one. Okay. So you would, and again, depending on how you, I cut these at the wrong angle. Okay, let me show you again. All right, so it does matter depending on which way your card base is going, okay? And then of course we want to bring it down so that the base is on the bottom. We want the flaps to fold over the base, right? You don't want your card to open like, I mean, you could, in which case these would work just fine if we were cutting like that. All right, but the angle does matter a little bit. So let me show what I mean. So I originally cut my paper. Okay, so look at the direction, the shape here of the triangles. Now I had originally cut my paper like, I cut it like this. All right, and so when you look at my triangles, all right, that didn't work. All right, it's giving me the reverse side, which is fine if you want to use that reverse side, but these are not the patterns. I don't want a totally purple card. So because my triangles are this shape, rather than cutting like this, I want to turn, so instead of turning your paper to the right, you want to actually turn it to the left. That's the mistake I made. All right, turn it to the left here. And that way you can see when you do point to point. All right, now my triangles match up, okay? So that is something to pay attention to, because depending on what angle you cut your cardstock, okay? So I cut mine, all right, this is the full sheet. I had cut mine from left corner to the bottom right corner. If you had taken your cardstock and cut it from the top right to the bottom left, then our original pieces would work. So play around with that a little bit. Maybe use some scrap paper until you get a feel for which, otherwise you'll make the same mistake I did there. All right, so it does make a little bit, depending on which angle you cut your paper at and which way your triangles fall, will determine which angle you need to cut your other paper at. Okay, so let me cut this pattern as well so I can show you the full card as I had designed. Okay, so trim your designer paper to 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and so instead of cutting from left to right here, I want to rotate it. Wait a minute, is that what I did? Okay, I had it right. Okay, so you want to look at the shape of your angle here and make sure. okay, that it matches the angle of your card base. There we go. Yes. Okay, so now that we've cut two pieces correctly, okay, so we'll take our card bases, right, our 2 half sheets, 1 piece of designer series paper we'll be able to put on the top flap for the first card. All right, so just use some of your Stampin' Seal or your liquid glue, whatever your favorite adhesive is. Okay, so we'll glue the first piece down, and you should have a slight border, okay, all the way around here. So the first piece goes on top flap of the first card, and then the other piece, the other half of your designer series paper, goes on the bottom flap of your other card piece. So with this, you might as well make 2 cards at once if you're prepping this, okay? Since you're cutting 1 sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and then 2 4 by 5 1/4 pieces of designer series paper. Okay, so here is the purple piece from the first card. All right, so again, you use each piece. Just put your adhesive right there on those angles. Okay. And attach one to the top. All right, here we go. One to the bottom. Okay. All right, there we go. So it's probably a good thing I did kind of mess up at the beginning, because that way you got to see just exactly how to pay attention to which angle you cut your cardstock and your designer paper at. But once we've got it, okay, so we end up with 2 triangle fold card bases. All right, and we had between those 2 pieces of designer series paper, the panels for both cards here. Okay, so we need just a little bit of basic white. All right, oh, that's not big enough. I thought I had my basic white all cut. All right, let's see here. Okay, so we need 2 basic white card panels that are 4 by 5 1/4. All right, and with those, go ahead, put your adhesive, okay? And this is going to go on the inside here. All right, so there's one. All right, and then here's the second one. All right, there we go. So you can see our 2 bases all ready to go. Okay, and now we're gonna fold those closed. Okay. All right, and now it's time to decorate the front, and this is where that Sentimental Park, the dies came into place. So like I said, I used the largest label die along with this medium-sized stitched die. Okay, so by doing that, that gave me, all right, so I pre-die cut that, and if you're wondering what size cardstock you need, all right, for this label, you need a piece that is 2.5 by 4.5. All right, so this exact piece is 2.5 by 4.5. That is the minimum dimensions that you need to die cut for this large Sentimental Park die. Okay. All right, and so you're gonna need to do 2 of those if you are making both cards. All right, and then the basic white. Okay, so this label ends up, you need 2 inches, 2 by 3 1/4 for each piece, 2 inches by 3 1/4. All right, and what I love about this, and it's probably a good idea to stamp your sentiment first, but let me just show you how these go together. So the sentimental park die actually cuts the little slits right in here. All right, so we'd stamp it, apply our adhesive, but then check out how this slips right in here. Okay, so you might want to play with that first, get a feel for it. Okay, see how nice that nestles together? I love it. All right, so and then you can decide, do you want your card to go to open landscape, right? Or do you want your card to open portrait style? Okay. Either way, the important thing to note is that you want to make sure you're only putting adhesive on part of your die cut. You want this flap to be able to open. All right, so find the midpoint here of your card, and then we're going to attach this with some Stampin' dimensionals. All right, so I like to put a dimensional right here on the edge of my flap. All right, so that gives me the midway point. Okay, and then let's see, decide which way you want this to go. Okay, so we can put dimensional at the top. All right, let's maybe do a couple of these. Oh, not over here. See, you gotta be careful. All right, so at the top, we've got this midpoint. All right, and I'm just gonna make sure I'm like right up here at the top, all right? Okay, so we've got that. And then this can go right in the center. All right, and then it opens. Okay, so we put our dimensionals in the proper places so it's nice and secure, and yet we can still open the card. Okay, so let's do that for each card there. Okay. So again, grab this, line it up. All right, center it where you want it to go. Flip it over. Put your dimensional right on the line. Okay, put one over towards the side, one at the very top. All right, so 3 is a good number here. Keep this nice and secure. And then, there we go. Okay, looks good. So we are ready to stamp some sentiments. Okay, so I'm going to be using some Blackberry Bliss ink for this. And to go along with these flowers, we've got a few different. Of course, you could use the Sentimental Park. We've got pretty little flowers. That would look nice in here. We've got a couple, of course, different celebration items. Actually, as one of the new celebration items is the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set. All right, this is a really good deal because this stamp set on its own is $24. And then it does have a coordinating set of dies that come with the hybrid folder. All right, so if you are looking to purchase this, all right, you are looking for the Beautiful Butterflies hybrid embossing folder, and that comes with the dies. All right, there's been a little bit of confusion of people looking for the dies. The dies are bundled with the hybrid embossing folder. Okay, and then so you would buy those, I believe that's $42. And then you would, in checkout, select the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set as your celebration choice. Okay, so this set would go nicely with this card. All right, we do have a second butterfly set of butterfly stamps and dies, and that is sketched. Okay, so the first one is Beautiful Butterflies. The second one is sketched butterflies. They are very different style, so choose whichever one you prefer. For this one, I'm going to use sketched because I like the thinking of you. I like that sentiment. All right, and I do like these little cluster of butterflies. All right, and then the dies for this one look like that. So you've got some detailed butterflies as well as the dies for each each of those butterflies too, okay? So what I'm going to do with these, get my butterflies on a block, my sentiment on a block. Okay. All right, and some Blackberry Bliss ink. All right, so again, my card is portrait style, so I want to stamp my sentiment here in the center of my die cut label. All right, so just a simple thinking of you. And then what I'm going to do with this little cluster of butterflies is I'm going to stamp that here on the inside of my card. All right, like right in there. You could do that in the corner, or you could come down even from the top. All right, they're so pretty. It just kind of gives that fun, carries that fun over into the inside, because we've got a lot of excitement on the outside. All right, party on the outside and a little party on the inside. Okay, so once we've got that, go ahead and add your adhesive, all right, to the back of your stamped sentiment labels. Okay, and then just make sure that you've played around with that a little bit, because we want to be able to slip that in, okay? And then wiggle it a little bit, wiggle it just a little bit to get that right in there. All right, don't worry, if you end up with a little piece of stray ink like I've got, well, that's what jewels and sequins and embellishments are for. Okay, so I've got one. All right, here we go. We've got the second one. Just gently lift that to maneuver it right up in there. Okay, and then bend it a little bit until you get it right down in the groove. Okay, it fits nice and secure, so you don't have to worry about that falling out of there at all. All right, there we go. So pretty. Now, of course, you can use any of our die cut butterflies to add a little embellishment. We do have some quite detailed dies here that would work for that. For just speed today, and I am using, these are the, let me see, I got a couple of packages here. All right, I've been using, these are the paper butterfly accents. You might recognize these. They came out last year. They are in our embellishment category, and they are just thin little die cut butterflies. All right, they are, oops, they are white on one side, just a little bit duller on the other. You can color these because they're white. You can use your blending brushes, and you could add any color that you wanted. I'm going to leave them white. They come in a couple different shapes. You've got 2 smaller sizes, and then a couple of medium, and then a larger one. So I find the smaller ones work best for this. And I'm going to attach them with just a glue dot. That's all we need. So find your glue dot here, take the center of your butterfly. All right, now do be gentle, because they do have little tiny antenna there. All right, and we'll gently pry that off. And then place this here on our card. Of course, it will flatten once you put it in an envelope, but it is so pretty to kind of have it popped up there, like it's flying a little bit. Okay, and then we'll take our purple sequins. All right, this is another celebration choice. We have so many great celebration options this year, so you've got limited time to earn those, right? Just a couple, well, just the rest of February here. So let's take some of these. All right, maybe add a couple little sequins. And then let's do a third. All right, maybe we'll put a third right over here. Okay, so that is our first one. Okay, our first card, we've got our triangle fun fold with these pretty Bloom Impressions Designer Series paper and those gorgeous little butterflies. All right, so that's the first one. Let's finish up the second one here. Okay, so this one, oh, and this works out. So you get to see the two different butterfly styles, okay, from the butterfly paper accents here. Again, grab a glue dot, gently attach your butterfly body to the glue dot, okay, and then have that fly over here. Again, I'm attaching it to the label because I want to make sure that that flap still opens, okay, and then add your sequins, and if you need to, go ahead and place one where you've got some stray ink. All right, you can't, there's no messing anything up. There's just opportunities to embellish, right? There we go. All right, that's what these little sequins and fun doodads are for. So there you go. So 2-in-1 triangle fun fold cards here. All right, so this, of course, we're with the Bloom Impressions celebration, but let me show you what that looks like with a completely different set of papers and styles. So this card was made using the Mediterranean Blooms Designer Series paper. Of course, that's got a fun citrus and tile theme reminiscent of Italy and Greece. So we've got the lemons and the oranges on here. All right, so in this case, I used a garden green card base. All right, I did the tiles and the citrus. And this one I added one of the Stylish Shapes stitched circles. Okay, the Mediterranean Bloom set has this fun little greenery. So I attached that all to my die cut circle. And then of course, die cut the fruit from the Designer Series paper itself. All right, so completely different look and style, but again, the same triangle fun fold. Okay, so let me know what you think. Are you a fan of the florals and the butterflies and the purple, or do you love it? It's kind of got this little more modern summer feel here with the Mediterranean blooms. All right, but either way, it's an awesome fold. Again, that's the triangle fun fold technique. I hope you'll give that a try. Let me know what you think. Again, the trick to it is to have a paper trimmer with a nice large cutting area, okay? And for that, again, to do the cutting part, after I had scored, I did remove the score blade so that it would give me more room here on my cutting track to do that triangle fold. So if you have any questions at all, please leave me a comment. Please let me know. This is actually my, this card. I have a full tutorial in my Create With Us International Tutorial Bundle. This was my project for the month, and so that is being sent out here with anybody who places an order with me during the month of February will receive the written tutorial for this, along with 14 other amazing projects using celebration items. All right, so again, if you have any questions, let me know, but please don't forget, take advantage of the amazing celebration where you can get free products for your purchase, right? Always love it when we can get free stuff. That offer goes through February 28th. And if you do place an order in my online store, stampinup.com, please use that host code C4WA9HQ4. Helps associate your order with me as your demonstrator so that I can send you those tutorials along with my workshop of the month fun fold card kit. All right. Hey, Pam. Hi, Tony. Welcome. Good to have you on here. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's fun fold technique video, please give me that thumbs up. All right. Click that little heart. Send me some love. All right. Feel free to share this video with your crafty friends. You can share it to your Pinterest board. All of that. Leave me a comment. That all helps to promote my video there on YouTube. So thank you all so much. Have a great afternoon. Stay warm. Have a fabulous weekend. And we will be stamping with you next week. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.